Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. If you watched the end of the last episode, we ended in a crash because I let it sit too long before saving it, and I've noticed that. And some of it, I don't know all of it. I don't want to blame Black Ice for it, because I had a lot more crashes when I had Hearts of Iron 3 on my SSD. Instead of old hard drive style, where I moved it over to the hard drive style and have a lot less crashes. So I don't know whether it's Windows 10, something to do with my system, the settings of my system. I don't know, but it does seem to happen. So, oh yes, we are within a day or so of where the time was on that last crash. So we have a carrier here. We have a carrier out here that looks what, I don't know. Why do I think it's the Hornet? I don't know. I think I do. That we have here. So we are going to send these carriers out. I know Shokaku is only 54%, but these CAG duties are almost at 100%. And we are going to... some of these guys probably won't take off because they don't have enough organization to naval strike, but we are certainly going to try. They look like they can make it. And you're going to, well, out to here. Well, further on. For some reason you're not going the other way, I don't know. Air intercept. They might be able to make it have enough green. Okay. Okay, it's the Essex. With an escort. And there is also a, well, bombing battle. And now we have our carriers going after their carrier. Oh, and I'm also shifting a huge stack, all of these guys you see traveling across here that were in southern Japan, to here. I'm going to try a port strike here because I'm guessing that that's where all of the fleet that fled is, but maybe it went somewhere else, but we will certainly see. Okay, we've won there. They're pushing up that way. These guys can support that attack. They're coming in there. And these guys are invading. Oh, well, they don't have any offshore bombardment yet. That's coming. Wow, those guys are moving slow. 17 kilometers per hour. I've been looking into some of this. That's probably about somewhere between 7 and 8 knots. Probably. Wow, that's now, why do the kilometers per hour? I don't know. It's a relative thing, of course, but hey. Okay, we've won that. You're still in good shape. It looks like they're going down here, so head down here. They're dealing with the CAG. They're also sort of dealing with that. Okay, units. Well, when you can. Resting ones. Okay, yeah, I know we had this last time. So we're going to do that, which uses up all of our current leadership. Have we sunk everything else? Was the Compton part of that group? Okay, we've gotten the Essex, Evans, and the Compton. Wow, so the USS Essex has been shot, or been sunk. What? And I was asked, yes, you head back to port, to take a look at ships sunk. And it is much more of a thing compared to the German series that I often do. So they've... Ooh, Brooklyn class light cruiser. Okay, not all light cruisers are the same. I mean, that's sort of a given. And even like you go in, not all destroyers are the same. Sims classes are okay, you know, and you can go to earlier or later. But I really particularly, and this is actually the Memphis, how interesting, Brooklyn class light cruiser. Now, these are big light cruisers. What was it? The Omaha class was 7,000 tons, I believe, and the Brooklyn class was 11,000 tons, I believe. Now, they both had 6-inch guns, but the Brooklyn 6-inch guns were sort of a generation better. They were designed to be able to take a very heavy shell, so that do we have a picture? Yeah, no. Very heavy shell out of it because of the Washington Naval Treaty, I believe it was, or maybe the later London, but I think it was the Washington Naval Treaty. But one of the naval treaties, sort of limited tonnage, limited gun size. So what they did is they special deep penetrating shells out of a 6-inch gun, and set it up that way so that they could go through a lot more armor. And these guys had 5 turrets of 6-inch guns, you know, like you would sort of see on a battleship. Obviously, battleships are generally, I would say, like, at least 10, but probably 12 to, well, the biggest ones got on the Yamato class was 18-inch, if I'm not mistaken. But the New Jersey class battleships, the Americans ones, those were 16-inch. I think before the stuff that was sunk before were 14-inch. So it varies, but you know, you can sort of get the idea. And although you maybe say going from a 6 to a 12-inch shell and go, oh, that's twice as big, but really because they're also longer, they're just bigger, heavier objects going through the sky. Now, so to take a relatively light caliber of gun, if you will, and make it penetrative, so that's what they did. So they there were 3 turrets forward. The third one back could only shoot to the sides because it was actually lower down, and then 2 to the rear. So they would have 15 guns firing. Could be all at once, or you know, 1 turret at a time, and just rapid fire, deep penetrating rounds. So that's a real significant ship sunk. The Katsuragi, never heard of it, took out the Lexington class, well, the Essex that we just sunk there, and the new USS New Mexico. Got that one out from the earlier battle. The Kasagi took out The Tennessee, 3 Tennessee class, I guess, and the USS Mississippi, and some destroyers. No, we're not going to make Pride. They didn't directly sink anything. Yeah, I'm not surprised that the lighter stuff didn't directly sink anything. Now let's, while we're doing this, ship sunk, yes. Just 2 destroyer class vessels. This one, the Akagi. You got the USS Idaho and a bunch of destroyers. A couple of them, I guess that's probably from much earlier in the China War, obviously. But the rest, the US most likely from. Oh, the Amagi got a Sims class. And down here, ship sunk, New Orleans class heavy cruiser, a Sims class destroyer group, ship sunk, couple of Sims. Probably none of the lighter vessels. These guys didn't go into that one, but they did take out a Chinese passenger liner from earlier. Yeah, I guess. No, not much from the earlier China campaign. That's what all I could be from some of these would be. Yeah, the China. Couple of light cruisers. Another light cruiser. Like a lot of these Chinese light cruisers, if you look at them, they're pretty light vessels, as it were. We have another group, yeah, here. Don't think we looked at these. The Zuikaku, some Sims class, Tennessee class, so 3 Tennessee classes and a passenger liner and a heavy cruiser. Bunch of destroyers. And even more destroyers. Ooh, 4 destroyers you've got. Pocket battleship. Okay, so that, I think that's more, yes, we didn't put that fleet out there. So that's all the fleets that are operating there now. Okay, so you guys go back and base and get well. Okay, we have 50 units in here and is repairing up because we're at 42, so we can take a lot. I'm gonna let this mature just a little bit more. So we've taken out another carrier, the Essex. Oh good, we've got the heavy artillery pieces defeated. Okay, so we've got some mountain troops in here. And a stupid Pondicherry, well, Pondicherry, yeah, Pondicherry. Garrison, light garrison unit is attacking it. which of course won't get them anywhere. And down here in the Mamna passage, okay, they're relatively safe, and so are they. Took down the organization of one vessel. But, let's see, so we're coming ashore. We do have shore bombardment. Maybe we should have brought in more, because I was expecting hardly a garrison here. And these guys will have, as we can see here, shore bombardment 7.5, and compare that to, I don't know, a light cruiser. 1.25, so of course we also have that. And you can see if this is what they're thinking a light cruiser is compared to what the Independence and the destroyers. So yeah, now, like I say, those Independence class were really heavy duty things. Never really got to do much in the way of surface action. Did get to do a fair amount of course, shore bombardment, in which they excelled at. And they were also fairly fast. Okay. Now I want to save this just for fun. Okay, now of course all the time we are reorganizing, so are they. So I just wanted to preferably top up all of the units, particularly some of the ones that had very low organization levels, so that they all start out at the same time, so we do a big sort of first massive wave, because I'm just half guessing that once they go in and get hit, the AI, we're going to put you on air intercept, just because they may have some of the carrier aircraft come on up. Or I think it would be better to think it would, I'm not sure. But air intercept that so they don't disrupt our attacking force too much. Air intercept over the region, good. Now I'm also, which I do believe, someone could correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, yeah, air intercept over this region. Also air intercept over the region. Like I say, correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe provincial AA, these guys help defend ships in a port, port strike attacks. So I'm sort of used to not doing those like over Britain and places like Malta and Gibraltar, where there's lots of AA protecting the ships. That's just sort of my let's stop all of you guys. Let you guys get rested up. Too many to really repair properly here, but since I sort of don't think we're going to have too much in the way of naval activity around here real soon. One carrier probably was coming back from being here. But let's... what is that? Don't even know. Okay, oh. Oh. Okay, well, it would look like there's lots and lots of ships here, and many of them are in low states of repair, especially like that, including that carrier. These other carriers with very low organization. So let's hope we can do this with. And what do you want? Medium bombers. Okay. Now this is why I wanted my fighters and such to be on air intercept to deal with their CAGs. I figured they still had them. Now, did that take all the organization out of my troop or my aircraft? My attacking ones? May have. No, they're still. Okay, well, our escort's working, at least dealing with surface vessels here. Okay, Mekong Mouse, okay. Oh, well, you should go back into port. Not that you're not doing good taking them down, just want to get a little more. Oh, well, I don't know. Well, you guys can start doing some naval strikes. You're not the most effective, particularly at finding targets, but once they're found, you can rest for a little bit. So you can follow in the better observing naval attackers. Yeah, that's sort of what I was worried about. Okay, these guys. Okay, I'm going to, yeah, let's stop that and let these guys get rested up before we head back in again. I'm sort of sure we did some level of damage. I don't know if we sunk anything. I could see with all of that sort of cushion, if you will, of other vessels that we don't actually sink anything, but I don't know. Okay, now we got these guys here. Okay. These guys are doing well, so you come up to here. Movement orders. Yeah, get going up there. Oh, major defeat. We lost. Okay, we lost here. Yep, we certainly did lose there. Okay. Not paying enough attention, I'm sure of that, actually. We should have stopped it before, or whatnot. Okay. Oh, and we talked the other episode about some of our Pacific strategy. Well, let's talk our India strategy, shall we say. We're going to push, like we're doing, we can see here, like we can see coming up through here, coming up into what, Mandalay. That was actually sort of the capital, or at least one of the places up in here was sort of the summer capital. They go to high altitudes during the summer, I believe it was, and during the winter they would come down to Rangoon. So from cool to try to, you know, keep from getting too overheated, if I remember correctly. But push as good as we can in here. And we are seeing Bhutanese forces, which really should be a joke outside of Bhutan, and other forces coming down this way, some Nepalese forces. Still see this big stack of units here. Well, because we do actually have a connection here is sort of why I'm not moving this whole stack forward just yet, because it can, looks like both of these provinces will be attacking across the river. That is impassable. We should probably see about moving at least the rest of the, well, it's not too much, another division or so up to the front. And we very well may push in here. What is that? Is that Michkina? And push this way as well as push this way. Once we get to a, you know, like I said, I wasn't paying attention here. Crossing the rivers, fighting into the mountains, even though it was a mountain division, and they have Gurkhas, so they're just a little too good. I wasn't anticipating that quality of soldiers, but once we get, you know, to a logical, you know, can't push too much further. And see these guys, well, I don't know if we can see that. Okay, that's probably, we can start, you know, pushing up to here so that we're hitting them from multiple fronts. But, and, well, and sort of taking out particularly Java and, well, I'm hitting the wrong thing. This is Java and this is Sumatra. Taking these islands out. Then, and I still may not have taken all the various, you know, little islands out here, but that and Borneo are the big resource, you know, solve a lot of our resource problems, including a fair amount of energy. I don't, you know, specifically know how much is down here, but I don't think too much in the way of steel. Some steel, a lot more, but solve most of our rare materials and other type things. I'm going to sort of do my the strategy I use for Germany for India is to take and get a hold of Ceylon or Sri Lanka, however you want to say that, and then invade here, push up, because I'm going to presume most of the troops will be facing me up here and or me down here, depending on where the front is, and use particularly this motorized corps here. Yeah, they're getting they're making headway slowly. But push there, and we also have another armored division there with a proper armor regiment, not light armor. But push with all of that stuff into India, and I think that will deal with just about anything they've got. Okay, so we're just 10 over currently maintainable strength, and we have, don't know what, good thing we have just destroyers protecting us from the submarines. Mountain unit, which mountain? Yeah, mountain unit training, which I think is down here. Cancel. Yeah, let's do recon for multiple reasons. And we are definitely, oh, did they ever get up to there? I know I sent somebody, oh, here they are. Alright, Soviet Union is losing ground, okay. Well, for now, we'll take all but one of these military police divisions, and well, let's come down here first. Now, we're gonna stop on the way and here and pick up a couple of more police, or a few more police units. Rebase. So that we'll be able to occupy things much better. Okay, the Kaga is going. Oh, pause. Okay, we have them there with fairly good with the Yamato. Let's attack. Yeah, they'll attack once they can too, but I want to counterattack while they are somewhat disorganized. But yes, on the right one. Okay, hopefully 3 divisions will be enough to take this invasion. And yes, I'm hoping that these guys will beat them there and protect them from any, because I'm not expecting, since we sort of see where the doom stack, or whatever you want to call all these ships is, which is a pretty big 81 destroyers, 16 CVs, 8 just standard sort of BBs, plus what's that, 4 named by the number CVs, and a bunch, I don't want to count all of them, and all under Nimitz too. Wow, well, he's the highest ranking one there. Bunch of other, you know, BBs, 39, 33, 44, 45, 46, I don't know what corresponding unit that is. They're just flying air interceptions over here. We are running, oh, probably not actually. Let's see about supplies. I think we're going into Sunset Beach already, but come out of Tokyo to Honolulu. Go through the bigger port, make sure we're getting enough supplies in. Now, I'm thinking here. Well, you guys aren't sinking anything. Come up. No, not to here. To here. So we're just out patrolling part of the ocean and no one's moving convoys through, because now maybe we should, well, we could do it here, but maybe we should come out here and try to do, because that's presumably the path they'll be taking. Again, you're not catching anything. Oh, mentioning that, let's take a look at Europe. These guys aren't catching anything here now. Yeah, let's move to convoy rating passive here. See if there's anything. Oh, we are catching a bunch of stuff up here, along with some German U-boats. Not sure who's doing most of this, and if that stuff might be more Germany, but I don't know. So that's doing some good, and we can also look at the current state in March. Well, the Germans made it. We talked earlier about how they had had a big stack up here and then lost actually Narvin big back here, but they pushed this way again. So That's good. This hasn't changed too much. Yeah, it's only been a few days, I know, but so yeah, and of course they're sitting down here. Oh, they pushed into here. They've lost Tobruk. Gotta lose a lot. I think they gotta lose Benghazi for though I've removed some of that. I don't know. To have the Africa Corps events fire. I'm not sure. Oh, but I may have removed it for the GGA version of the thing. So yeah, they may really have to wait a bit. Okay, well, we've got a lot of units here to deal with eventually. But right now, okay, so they've got some motor torpedo boats or some sort. And they'll also have shore bombardment effect against a Marine Corps defense unit and some HQs. So yeah, I think those 3 divisions will take them. Now down here, we came in too lightweight here. I thought we were going to be facing lighter opposition, but I think we'll make it. And we're almost to taking Singapore. And no, I'm not going to go into some long tirade about Sims, or Percival, sorry. Percival today. Did that last time. Okay, heavy cruiser and a destroyer. Okay, still doing pretty well. They're a bit scratched up, of course. And it's good that they're taking down some enemy vessels. Okay, so now you guys attack into here. You're taking out there. You guys attack up to there. Yeah, we need to get the rare materials and the oil much better flowing. You can see the 23 revolt risk. So we've sort of got to get some military polices, which what we're doing up here. Getting them. Okay, oh, another heavy cruiser down. Okay, we're gonna take all but one of these military police units. And we're gonna go on board vessels. And yeah, I think we're no, I don't like that well enough. Let's come to here. Rebase. I think we're going to put you out to patrolling out here. Patrol passive. Just go out. If you find some enemy, deal with them. Too much, come home. Okay, we've won the Battle of Wake Island. Very good. Well, I don't care about the possible fight with some motor torpedo boats. The US can rebuild those in a heartbeat. They have plenty of IC. And I presume enough manpower to do that. Okay, Wake Island also gets us a major port. Now, again, I don't, I just... Wake Island and I think Midway both had some fairly good defenses, and I just see no shore defenses, no pillbox defenses. I know Black Ice is done, or this version of Black Ice is very heavily done by Panzeroo, who's Australian, so he of course pays attention to the Pacific War, but maybe not as much as he does Europe and Germany. And there was a poll taken, a voluntary poll, so it wasn't random, so it's non-scientific people had to, but people who were at the forum, Black Ice Forum. This was quite some years ago now, and it was done by Secret Master. He put it up there, and I think it was 5 countries he had on the list, which to play, and what do you play? And you can pick more than one. So you could pick all of them, I guess. But what countries do you normally play with Black Ice? And it was approximately 70% of the people play as Germany. Now other countries were getting like 20-30%. I don't think much got over 30%, other than just Germany. So obviously the number is more than 100%. So, because like I say, you could go, oh, I play Japan and I play Germany, or I play Germany and Italy, or I play Britain and Germany, or whatever. But so many people played Germany. So that really continued to, I think this may have been after TRE had come out. Pretty sure it was already out. But this is just sort of, sort of generically done. So this really informed them that Germany, for immersion and for whatnot, its opponents, is where you need to focus your resources on it. If I'm going to make a mod for a country, and 70% are going to play Germany and 5% are going to play Australia, it really doesn't matter if I have 10 or 20 people all shouting for more Australian content, when even if it's the same amount of people shouting for German content, just because I know, even if I'm just trying to please people, I know more people are going to be pleased by more German content. Obviously, if you're selling something, you want to make more money. So I sort of get some of this stuff, but why no defenses here? Because I know the Battle of Wake Island had naval guns. They had 5-inch 51 caliber guns, and I didn't actually know this in detail, the caliber of the gun. There's different types of calibers, so they can be confusing. When you say 5-inch 51 caliber, what that is, because you can say a 50 caliber machine gun, 50 cal is half an inch, just so you know, because it's 0.5 caliber, so it's half an inch. But when you say it 5-inch 51 caliber, what that is it's a 5-inch gun, 51 calibers long. Now, if you have a 4-inch 51 or 50 caliber, they're going to be different lengths, because a caliber, when you're talking in artillery, is a caliber for a 5-inch gun is 5 inches. Okay, so it's 51 times 5 inches. Get you, and I don't want to do math. Math is hard, but get you the length of the gun barrel. So a 4-inch 51 caliber is 51 times 4 inches. To get you the caliber. So that's how they determine when you see an inch style. Now, of course, modern stuff, and I don't know how you would necessarily deal with, 20 millimeter gun and then try to specify the barrel length. I don't, whether you give it an absolute. This is very admittedly a very archaic sort of way of doing things. But unless, like I say, I didn't until rather recently know that the caliber, when you talk inch, then caliber, the caliber, that number varies depending upon the inch measurement as to how long it is. So it's a proportional measurement. But they had 5-inch 51s, mostly because those had been pulled off of a lot of ships and had been in the process of updating to 5-inch 38 caliber guns. The reason they were going down from a longer barrel to a shorter barrel is that they were dual purpose. They could shoot at aircraft equally well as they could shoot at ground targets, or surface targets, but also ground, but whatever, surface. And they actually sort of upped the cartridge performance on the other guns. So they actually effectively, with ammunition types from what I was reading, having actually the 38 caliber length guns of the 5-inch had longer ranges than what was considered longest effective range of the 5-inch 51s. But they were also, the idea is like 20 degrees or something of elevation. You could effectively shoot a 5-inch 51 where you can go to near vertical on a 5-inch 38 gun and keep that gun up at that angle and load it. So you didn't have to bring it down to load and then bring it back up. So as you're shooting up at aircraft targets, you could keep it on target. And so they were converting over a lot of vessels. So they had a lot of these other guns around. I think, not sure on this, but I think some of the projectile types could be fired out of both guns. But they are a two-part ammunition. A projectile that's one piece that's put onto the thing, onto the loading tray, and then a charge, sometimes in a like a cloth bag that just evaporates when it's fired, or in some of the stuff it's in a brass cartridge that gets ejected when it's fired. So, and I'm not sure whether both guns could take. You could swap the powder bags versus the brass cartridge out, but I think mostly, though they talked about some of the stuff that I was reading, I think mostly the actual projectiles, at least some of them were, you could fire them out of either gun. That's sort of some of the reason they kept around with the 5-inch stuff, was because they also did I think it was a 5-inch 23 caliber gun. That was the original anti-aircraft gun. So they were sort of doing anti-aircraft guns and anti-surface guns. And they, after a study and figuring out, well, we can do just about as effective, or as technology went on, more of an effective shorter barrel gun that could also equally effectively, because with the better mounting system, shoot up into the air. Part of the reason for the shorter barreled guns was also easier handling. Most of those shorter barreled guns, and later some production ones, but that had been taken off the ships because they were just being replaced with a longer, universal sort of gun. They were put on submarines because they weighed less, and they needed new mountings for being able to operate, submersible mountings, that can take being under the water a lot. Not that they operate under the water, but go down. So they were reusing a lot of these guns and such, and a bunch of the 5-inch 50s also ended up on the backs of Liberty ships, just sort of like, hey, we're running away from you, we can shoot a 5-inch gun at you as we run away, hopefully that will keep you from sinking us as we run away from you, kind of thing. The other thing, of course, they put a lot of anti-aircraft guns around a Liberty ship to keep, aircraft attacks. That was the real thing, but they also had some surface, just in case, surface guns. But so both Wake and Midway had been given 5-inch 50 caliber guns that were put in, you know, various bunker types. So they did have some defense like that. Now I know Wake Island was scrambling to build defenses after the war started, knowing that they were going to be attacked at some point. So that they you ended up using a lot of the equipment on Wake, as well as concrete and other things that that had been brought in by the Pan American Company because it was a major stop. They had actually built a hotel on the island, and we can see well, that doesn't give you much of an idea, but you know, Midway isn't very much of an island, and I think there's maybe a bit more somewhere else, but Midway isn't very much of an island. If you include all the coral reef, it actually gets fairly big. This had at the time, no, they did have a runway. Wake did have a runway for some fighters, I remember. But the main thing for the Pan American is that it was sort of like this, in that there was a large lagoon, which was under most conditions very safe to land. I say that because obviously you can have, you know, a typhoon, or, you know, they don't generally call them hurricanes out there, but typhoon or whatever hitting that would make nothing safe. But under most and even sort of roughish Pacific conditions, with both of these in the coral reefs around, there was normally a calm enough, safe enough place to land, you know, the clipper ships, the flying boats. And so they were building various things, and they sort of used the building equipment and supplies to build bunkers. Wake almost won, and there we can sort of do a somewhat Percival type look at when the island did surrender. They were maybe in a slightly better position than the Japanese were when they surrendered. The big problem with them is that the command post and the other bunkers, and they had taken tremendous casualties, so there is a difference there. But so had the Japanese, attacking tremendous casualties. But all of their telephone communication lines had all been cut in the bombardment and fighting, and the command bunker couldn't talk to anybody else, and there was no real ability to move about the island at all. And so supposedly the defenders still had a fair amount of food and ammunition, and they could have held out for some more time. Not that they were really in much of a place to counterattack, but it was wasn't maybe the time to quit. And then of course they were atrociously treated after surrender. And again, as I had the long talk last episode, so we won't go into it, about the difference between dealing with people in the midst of combat and dealing with people after a formal surrender. Wasn't that supply? Oh, supply production, right? Okay, I was looking at supply organization. So, that is why that I still don't think the Japanese have they've sort of done in some of the surrender treaty and whatnot, but not really acknowledged how widespread the war crimes that they committed were. And I'm not just, because I've talked about the war crimes in China too, so this isn't just because I'm an American and it happened to Americans. Obviously I feel it a little more personally that way, but like I say, I did very much talk about it when we were dealing with the China war and what was going on in Nanking and other places. So this isn't just that, but very big. And I will even sort of in the defense, sort of a backhanded defense of Germany, some of the, I don't know, bad treatment, but bad conditions, shall we say, of the Soviet prisoners immediately after being taken were just like, hey, we didn't have enough food to feed all these people. That's not the case here. The numbers were so small, and the Japanese crews, could feed them, and I think they probably reasonably, I don't know if they did or not, but it was just other atrocious behavior. Okay, well, we've won in the Battle of Hong Kong, and we've lost a light cruiser out here. Okay, well, since we're continuing to be attacked, you're maybe good enough. I really overconfidently did that, so we're going to come in with you as quickly as possible. That will put us a few battleships and a light cruiser, and this time we did even before these guys. Primarily, we got this one this time was because the AI did the stupid thing of counterattacking until they were, you know, exhausted, as opposed to just hunkering down and waiting to deal with the next attack, and then they could have done so. That's just the stupid thing, because I get the AI programmers kind of, yeah, I get, oh, we want a smart AI, but no matter how no matter how bad these guys may be, and no matter how bad the other division may have been in condition after you've won, and even if the counterattack, the attack out from the Hong Kong garrison would have been successful, so they take this province, they take this province. Why? What does it get you? Now maybe you could analyze if this wasn't fortified and this was just sort of urban terrain, maybe, is that what that is? Yes, urban terrain, that may be, I would say, better to defend on. But let's say this province, if this might be better to defend in the mountains, okay, maybe the river, but not when you have the fortifications. It just isn't better. So we're going to end the episode here. It's been long enough, and I didn't talk too much going on about things. So thank you for watching. Thanks for liking. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And of course, I love hearing from you, so please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.